Hello, heroes. Welcome to Hypnosis Heroes. That's right, the podcast where we talk about hypnosis and we also talk with the world's greatest hypnotists. Literally, we have on here the world's greatest, most famous hypnotist. I'm super excited to talk to our guest tonight. His name is John Cerbone. He is a world famous hypnotist. In fact, he's even got the website. The reason I knew that was because I had this idea several years ago. I'm going to see if anybody has world famous hypnotist. And what do you know? John already had it. So you can't get that. So each and every couple of weeks, we bring on a stage hypnotist and or hypnotherapist. Our guest tonight, he actually does both. Actually, all three. He does all kinds of hypnosis. He's a world-renowned instructor, trainer, speaks at conferences all over the world. He's also a street hypnosis guru, stage hypnosis, and hypnotherapy. In fact, we're going to be talking about his books tonight. He's written several script books for you folks out there that are needing some scripts to give you some ideas. But before we get to our esteemed guest and colleague, I just want to give you a rundown of the show in case you haven't watched before. Believe me, how could you not? But if you haven't watched before, what we do is we chat for a little bit, me and the other regular heroes. That's Brian Bay and Shawn Kostiuk. And we chat for a little bit. Then we bring our guest Hypnosis Hero on for the week. We're going to talk about products. We're going to talk about some Amazon products. We're going to talk about our guests' books. We're also going to play friend or frenemy. We find out if our guest can be our friend because they don't like pineapple pizza, or if they are our frenemy because they do like pineapple on pizza. If you are one of those people that likes pineapple on pizza, go and let us know. We want to know. Put frenemy. If you like pineapple pizza, put frenemy so we know who our frenemies are. We got to keep track of that. We're also going to be giving away a product from the Damn I'm Pretty store. That's right. We'll be giving away some merch. We're giving away a t-shirt tonight. So get ready for the lottery. And we do have some products ordered for the folks that have already won. And then finally, we do hypnosis. That's right. In about 30 to 45 minutes from right now, John Cerbone, world famous hypnotist, is going to lead us in some hypnosis. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. I probably forgot one of those things, but Shawn will remind us later. The captain is always on top of things. But with that, I'm going to bring on my esteemed colleague, Hypnosis Hero, Brian Bay, everyone. Give it up for Brian, everyone. Yeah.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad. Our sound effects guy is off the ball. I was waiting for the yay. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, that's it.
You have angered the producer gods.
Oh, with producer like that, who needs enemies?
That's right. Exactly.
God, it was a busy weekend, man.
Oh, Lord, dude, it's been a crazy. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Really, I've been over to Idaho doing shows, and then back here doing shows, and then we had the conference, and the show last night, Tacoma Comedy Club, and wow, it's been. And then we're doing this tonight.
Yeah, I mean the show last night was pretty good. I mean it
was fun. It was fun.
The folks up on stage, you know, it was a little bit hit and miss, but
yeah,
you know, not for your lack of skill or ability. Yeah, it was. I think all in all, you know, what we had to work with, it pretty much went off without a hitch. I mean, sound worked. With the videos, video camera, the microphones were going good.
Yeah,
it wasn't this last minute row, MacGyvering, audio cables and stuff together. So
yeah, I've gotten better. I still have room for improvement on the organization, even on the show here. As we were just, we were holding the show for Jim to find some links and stuff.
Oh, Janaea, hello and welcome.
We haven't seen Janaea in a while, so I'm glad she's here.
Looking at a couple of the comments, Sue, is that Kobuki? If I pronounce that correctly. She says she's a frenemy, so that doesn't matter. Pineapple on pizza. But yeah, just real quick, for the raffle, hashtag or the pound symbol, Hypnosis Hero. Spell it out.
Yes.
That'll enter the drawing, and make sure it's one word.
Yeah, one word. We're not going to type it in. We're not going to type it in tonight, unless we already have.
How many times have you won this thing, Jim?
Like last week, it was like 5 or 6 times. We finally just had to. It was nuts. Or not last week. I love this. That Sue already knew. She already understood the assignment. First thing she wrote was hashtag Hypnosis Hero.
And then she called it. And then she said frenemy.
I know. I mean,
there may be a spy among us. We may have been infiltrated. I
believe we have more than that, to be honest with you. I believe we have more than that. Look at this. We have got, Judgmentalist is a friend of me as well.
That's right. We like him. Judgmentalist is an officer of the court. We have to hold him in high esteem and good regard. But
hey, let me give a quick shout out to Israel Mandrake. He's actually going to be on the show next month, the second Monday of next month, as our stage hypnotist on there. And I know he was really looking forward to this episode with John on it, and so I'm happy to have him on. That'll be awesome. So we'll do some hypnosis. We'll do a drawing. Tonight's drawing is a T-shirt or a tank top, your choice, from the Damn I'm Pretty store. And with that, let's bring on the producer, the captain, Shawn Kostiuk. Hello, Shawn.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Hang on. There we go.
There we are.
How to get my camera set properly.
Steven's got diplomas.
Maybe I just need a wider camera for a bigger head. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Get the wide lens.
It'll be fisheye, Shawn.
What's going on in Canada? You know what? Now we need a Mexican.
I actually feel like I'm living in Seattle right now because it's been raining almost every second or third day here.
Oh, it's been gorgeous weather out here, Shawn. I've got a little pink skin to show for it too.
That's right. That's right.
Hashtag yard work.
Yeah, well, I still have lots to do. Grass right now is about that tall.
Oh, the snow's finally melted.
Yeah, you can actually see the grass now.
God. Hello, greenness, my old friend.
So, saying that it's beautiful in California.
So, how about you guys? You guys have obviously now. You guys, that's right. John wasn't actually at the Performing Hypnosis Summit this last year in person. He was online, but he's going to be joining us live this year. He's got some classes he's going to teach, and we've got some workshops we're looking over to see which workshops.
That's the Vegas trip.
So
right?
I'm sure, the Vegas trip. Yep.
Okay.
So. I've been following John's work for, over a decade at least. Really good stuff. So let's go ahead and bring him on. He's world famous John, the Trance-Master Cerbone. He's hypnotized well over 350,000 people. He regularly drops complete strangers into deep hypnotic trances in mere seconds or faster, earning tremendous peer recognition. That's right. Many of us in the community recognize him as an absolute expert. He began practicing hypnosis as a small child, continued out throughout his life. He's performed in all over the U.S. He's been in Canada, Europe, even Broadway, the Vegas Strip. Been on all kinds of TV shows, MTV, Fox TV, just all over the place. He's also the inventor of over 120 inductions, very famous for the butterfly induction. Maybe he'll demonstrate that during the hypnosis section. So give it up for my friend, my colleague, Mr. John Cerbone. Hey, John, how are you tonight?
Terrific. I am stunned by the buildup. Thanks so much. Right from the heart. Thanks so much.
It's our pleasure, man. It's really it's been long overdue having you on the show. I can't wait to dive into this more. What did I miss? I know I missed a lot of stuff in your intro. What else do people need to know about John Cerbone?
Well, I had a dad who used to bring his work home with him. He used to yell a lot when he came in. When I was 3, I didn't like the noise. So I invented a self-hypnosis technique, not knowing that's what it was. I would go upstairs, deep breathe, stare at the ceiling, put myself elsewhere mentally. And by the age of 5, my parents said, teach us how to do that. It seems to work for you. So I was teaching my parents my self-hypnosis technique at 5. And I didn't even know it was self-hypnosis back then. It was just something I did. It was just this thing, because nobody told me it was hypnosis till much later on. And then in grammar school, high school, and college, there were kids that were thinking about running away from home, or in some cases committing suicide, later schools, And they weren't kids that like right here. They were kids like out there somewhere in the class. And I would sit down with them and talk to them. And when they opened their eyes, they felt good and didn't want to do stupid stuff anymore. So I just continued to plug this in, from jobs I had to situations I was involved in to whatever it was. And somewhere back decades ago, I got certified. And I just never looked back. It was one certification after another until I got to a point where I was somewhat dissatisfied from what I was learning, because a lot of it was out of books from the 1930s and 40s. And sometimes the 50s or whatever it might be. But I said, there's got to be better, easier, newer ways to do this. I remember I was given a script book by somebody who had ripped it off from somebody else, who ripped it off from somebody else, who took it from a book that was from a copyright that was expired. And it was like, there's the 12 sessions or 15 or 20, whatever it was, sessions that you can do. And people are calling up, can you do this other thing? And I'm like, I'll figure out something. So by being creative and putting myself into hypnosis, I started to write these suggestion scripts. It's funny because the early ones I have are gone. I mean, some of them were written in pencil on the back of pieces of paper. And you know how we start off with this stuff, right? It's like ideas that come. It wasn't all digital back in those days. And there's people now teaching some of these techniques that I have I created before I was even putting this stuff in books. There's one for fellows running around teaching classes on how to keep people from having an upset stomach when they get chemotherapy and other effects. And I did that on my uncle before I was writing that stuff down. He was very sick from having chemo and got sick to his stomach one time. He was one of those shirt and tie guys from like the Navy in the 1940s. And, the stuff just keeps coming. People ask me, can you do this? Can you do that? I keep putting myself into hypnosis and writing stuff. And I just come up with stuff all the time. So somewhere back in, I don't know, prehistory of today, I guess. How's that for a term? I was at a hypnosis conference and I saw some people, much older people, doing faster inductions. And I was told originally that an induction would take 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and you must follow every period and comma. And if there's 3 dots, take 3 breaths. And if it's 5 dots, you take 5 breaths, and all this other nonsense that went on. And I was extremely dissatisfied. When I approached some of the old timers, they were like, you young whippersnapper, and how dare you, and this is advanced stuff, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it should sit well with anybody, frankly.
Yeah.
So I was on the way home from this conference, and I got detoured. And as I approached, of all places, Mystic, Connecticut, I had my mystical moment from a detour. I wound up taking this other highway. And I thought to myself, if I do this and I do that and I do something else and add this at the end, they're going to go right out. Don't try that at home. And I'll get trained. Anyway, and then I tried it a day or so later, 2 days later, on this client who keeled over on the couch with this big happy grin on her face. And she went out like in 2 or 3 seconds. And I said, ooh, that's good stuff. And then I said, well, at one point, the first script book, I was up to like 80 scripts. And I'm like, he's got 80 of this, and now he's got 1 of that. And I'm like, for marketing, you can't do that. It has to be multiples, right? So it took me 9 months to create the next induction, like having a baby,
Yeah.
But now I just kind of spit them out. I'm up to 124 plus derivatives. It's probably closer with derivatives to 136 or 138 at this point.
Wow.
And they just keep popping into my head. It's like one after the other. Boom, boom, boom. So everything I've done in my career as a hypnotist is to take everything I do to the next level, whatever that might be. Because I think as far as I've gone with this, maybe 100 years from now, there'll be somebody who will take it 10 steps quantum up from where I am, or 5 steps or 2 steps, or whatever you want to measure it as. Because I think the possibilities of what we do as hypnotists are relatively unlimited. I've also done everything I can to turbocharge the shows I do. I want my shows to pop. I want them out there. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
A matter of time. The laughter starts to crest. It starts to drop. The audience is thinking, what's he going to do now? Bang. Hit him with something else. Don't give them time to catch their breath. I want an exhausted audience when my show is over.
Well,
I don't care if the people in the show are exhausted. They're going to be exhausted anyway. It's like, boy, I'm really sweaty. Well, you dance for 20 minutes. I would say that might have something to do with it. You know, I could be off base there. But I want everybody to walk out of that event winded, like they were part of something they'll never forget.
Nice.
And my goal is to compete with me. I don't want to compete with anybody else.
Yeah.
I just want to get out there and make what I do as terrific as possible, whether it's a private session, and the way I do private sessions clinically different than other people do, unless it's somebody I've trained or has been in a class that I've done, which is, again, training, or somebody I've taken from the ground up and trained, or, you know, anything, whether it's speed inductions to make it pop into somebody's face, or street hypnosis where suddenly it's just ice cold freak out stuff. I was on an audition some years ago for America's Got Talent, and the judge, this one lady, because there was one judge on the audition and a camera guy, the judge couldn't believe what I did. She looked at me and she said, "That's fake. That can't be real." I said, "What?" And she said, "That's fake. It can't be real." I said, "You're basically calling me a liar." And she said, "I can't believe what I saw." I said, "Is this a talent competition?" And she said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "What do you think you just saw?" And she said, "Well, I can't believe my eyes." I said, "You want to believe this?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Sit in the chair." "What?" I said, "Sit in the chair and let the camera guy do his job." "Why?" I said, "You're next." I got no, like, she got a little freaked about the whole thing. But I think as a hypnotist, we're only, obviously, we have to work in confines of the law. We can't practice medicine and psychiatry and psychology and other things. But I think when it comes to whatever we want to do as hypnotists that we're allowed to work with, I think the sky's the limit. I really do. I think the shows have to be mind-blowing. If you're doing less than a mind-blowing show, you're ripping off the audience. And is every audience going to be blown away by what you're doing? Well, there's some audiences that are better. I mean, if you put me in a theater with 1,000 people, or you put me in a living room with 7 people, I want all of them to be freaked out in their own way.
Yeah.
Where what's done will make a permanent mental lifetime impact on the person I'm working with. The same way it happens in a private session when a habit that somebody's had changes immediately for the rest of their lives, or their entire life gets better from the private session because I throw that in as well. I don't want it just to be one topic necessarily. I want it to be that their entire life was revolutionized by coming to see me. And I get that from time to time. I'll be in a mall looking in a window with a shirt or something, or a pair of shoes, and somebody will come up behind me and hug me from the back. And my first reaction as a New Yorker is like, what is this? Am I under attack? Because it could happen. And I'm thinking, poke out an eye, trip them, whatever. And I just pause for a second. I breathe. And I love you, man. You get this business. So, and it's happened a lot of times. I've had people walk up to me in Manhattan and do that, which again, a little dubious where you are. Depends where you're walking, And, I've had people walk up to me from television appearances I've made, on both coasts, in California and New York. And they walk up to me. And it's like, "I know you, man." And I'm thinking high school, college, a show I did, somewhere.
Yeah.
Did I take the guy's relative at some point? No. I saw you on such and such. And I think when you're not out there as a hypnotist waving that flag and letting people know who you are, then I think it's a major disservice to yourself and the entire profession.
Yeah.
So get out there and bang that drum. Let people know what we can do,
Sure.
That's my rah-rah moment there. I hope I didn't get anybody to take pom-poms and start going now, but that's my thing.
That's good. So, so you talk about so you started off in hypnotherapy and because you were doing hypnotherapy on yourself. Talk to us about the early journey. When did you decide, that you wanted to switch over to the doing the comedy, the street, that kind of a thing? What kind of compelled you?
All right. Throughout my whole life, I've had experiences that push me in that direction. And sometimes it's like God puts you on the chess square where you belong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you keep fighting. I need to be over here. And you're like, no, you're kind of going over there. And you're like, but I really, no, it's over here. But let's see, in college, I decided to take some classes on speech and communication, and then I wound up minoring in that. And then I ran out of a lot of money that I wanted for the sciences. I've been studying a lot of science, and it got to a point where financial situations, and I really happened to love the speech and communication stuff I was doing. I was working for the department chairman, had the keys to the whole school, more or less, and a lot of that stuff. I was actually, in some cases, when the professors couldn't show up, I get a phone call. You took the class last year, yeah? Can you cover the class this week, this month? I got an injury. I got a show on Broadway, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was teaching classes as an undergraduate, and the kids were getting it and loving it and all that kind of stuff. And I wound up in a couple of plays. I was in 4 separate plays. The first one was Played Again, Sam, by Woody Allen. Do you remember that movie at all? Or
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was playing Humphrey Bogart. They had me in a fedora and a trench coat and a suit and tie and the whole bit under the hot lights. And I had to do a Bogart impression, I'm walking around. It's like, listen, kid, dames are simple. I never met one that didn't stand a slap in the mouth or a slug from a 45,
Oh, jeez.
And, and whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then there was another play I was in where I directed one vignette, and I was in another vignette called Love Nest for Three by this author, John Patrick. And then on the heaviest semester of my life, I had a bunch of advanced science courses. I had advanced biology. I had organic chemistry. I had calculus, 2 speech and communications classes, and something else. I forget if it was English or health or something I had to take. I was pledging for my college fraternity, and I was awarded the lead role in Arthur Miller's The Crucible, where I played the character John Proctor, and it's all Old English.
Yeah.
It's about the Salem witch trials and had like political leanings and overtones and that kind of thing about judgment and whatever. And I remember recalling how much stuff could I jam into my head. And from that, my professor came to one of the performances, and the following night he came back with a crew of people, including his wife and a bunch of others. And I was awarded a scholarship to the Actors Studio, which I had to refuse for financial reasons because I had to go out and get a job and get out of the house. But I could have been studying with Lee Strasberg and all these other famous people, De Niro and Pacino, and Marilyn Monroe went there, Harvey Keitel, the list goes on.
Wow.
And at one point, I started in college. There was one more play. I played The Good Doctor. I played a guy who would drown himself for money in Russia, dive off the stage, splash effect, whatever. But I happen to like the comedy. I happen to like getting feedback and the laughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in jobs that I had, in order to get anything done, I would wind up doing these Rodney Dangerfield impressions to get the shipping department to send product out. In the video business, I was in a wholesale thing back in the day when I got out of college, and I was selling videotape for like New Jersey, like movies for stores, for chains, mom and pop.
I got to stop you. Can you do a Rodney for us right now?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm fine now. Last week was in rough shape, I wrote jokes for him, and I emailed him jokes. And he started to email me back. I found his email address somewhere. There was a chain of ice cream stores called Friendly's. Have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah.
In the Northeast?
I've been to them in New York, yeah.
I was driving down the road last week. I saw a place called Friendly's. I went in there, they spit in my face. They told me to leave. I'll tell you, no respect anywhere I go,
Yeah.
And he wrote back. He said, "That's a terrific joke." And he actually performed my jokes. There's
Wow.
an audio I heard on YouTube, him in California, where the jokes I wrote, he did.
Wow.
And to get anything done in that video business, I was doing impressions of celebrities, and I was doing impressions of, whoever else, including Rodney. And if I did Rodney, the orders I had would get shipped. And if I didn't, it didn't get done. It was backed up. There was too much business going out.
Yeah.
And later, my father got sick with cancer. And the only thing that made him laugh was Rodney, and other impressions. At the time, I remember doing like Rain Man and whatever else popped into my head. I was walking, sitting, telling my father one time, I was driving to a cancer clinic, and I'm like, the cop pulls me over and be like, "Excellent driver, yeah, excellent driver, yeah, yeah." He's like, "Stop, it's too close. You'll get thrown in jail for being a smart guy, So I wound up doing all these different impressions. And then somewhere like 30-something years ago, I was giving a lecture on hypnosis to a crowd of it was between like 80 and 150 people. I forget what room it was, but it was pretty packed up. It was like a free lecture on hypnosis out in Long Island, New York. I forget which county it was in, Nassau or Suffolk, I don't remember. And at the end, these three folks came up to me. There was two men and a woman, I think it was. And she said to me, we just did our fundraising event last week to help kids with cancer. And can you do one of those funny comedy hypnosis shows? And I was like, you mean a lighthearted lecture demonstration? And she was like, no, like the stuff we saw on the cruise ship, the stuff we did in high school and college. And at the time, somebody was going around teaching. I don't want to start being a name dropper, so I'm not going to do it. But somebody was floating around the country teaching stage hypnosis on a weekend.
Ah.
And I wound up taking one class, and I took a couple of other classes. But besides the classes, I kind of jumped in with both feet. I was doing county fairs. I was doing, whatever else that came along. And then with the advent of the job sites online, I was working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I was doing a lot of shows in the New York area for everything from colleges and high schools to various fraternal and sorority organizations to a lot of Jewish groups I work with in the New York area because they hire a lot of live entertainment. And I've always been treated very, very well by them of various, levels of strictness, whether it's the Hasidics or the Orthodox or the Reformed or the Conservative or whatever else. I've worked with all the groups, and I've learned customs and things you can do and things you can't do and whatever it is. And it became like when somebody needs a hypnotist, it was call him. And I get referrals from people like, hey, man, I got your phone number from so-and-so. And they said, you did a show at their home. You did a show at their school. You did a show somewhere. And all of a sudden, the phone was ringing off the hook. And at one point, there was a day where the hypnosis shows eclipsed the amount of private sessions I was doing. I don't know exactly when that was. But somewhere like 15 or 20 years ago, there was more money coming in from the shows than there was from the sessions. And the sessions have never stopped. They did one a day ago, 2 days ago. But, and I got more coming up later in the week before the grad season starts.
Yeah.
Around here, Project Graduation is that event that keep the kids from alcohol and car accidents and drugs and pregnancies and stuff. And around here, it's the last 2 weeks of June. But I've worked, there's an old Johnny Cash song that used to be on a commercial recently, a couple of years ago. I've been everywhere, man. So far, it's 31 U.S. states, Canada, and Europe.
Yeah.
And I've had people begging me to come to Australia and stuff. But, if the circumstances aren't 100% right, if you're going intercontinental, you've got to wait till the circumstances get to be 100% right. So you know what you're walking into, because I've had that happen too. But, the money has to be right, the accommodations, the airfare, the hotel, all of that stuff.
Hey,
but it's funny because
let me just interrupt you for 1 second, John.
Sure.
Brian, you want to catch people up on comments and see if we got some questions to answer?
We do. We've got Becca had asked, what's your best memory from one of your shows?
I have so many memories of those shows. It's really funny. I can give you a couple off the top of my head. Most of us do hot and cold at some point in the show. And I don't know if you've had this experience. I think I've had it a lot. Where you walk past somebody, you tell them they're too cold, and they grab you around the hips, and they're holding you with all their might, shivering, you know what I mean? And I sometimes feel like I'm channeling the late Pat Collins, because being from New York, I can be a little bit on the sarcastic side when I'm working,
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody down in Florida about 4 weeks ago. The guy was head and shoulders over me. It was some family event. And he grabbed a hold of me, was shivering and hugging me around the hips. And I kind of just paused and looked at the audience and said, I think I'm in love now, which got a laugh. But, it's that sarcastic New Yorker thing, that comes out of us when we work, at least for me as a New Yorker,
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things. There was one time I was in front of, it had to be between 5,000 and 6,000 people in an audience. And, occasionally in a show, somebody's bladder is a little too full and they have to leave the show. You've had that, Jim, right? You've seen that,
Yeah.
And this kid got up and just walked off stage left. And the whole audience gasped, like, where did he go? And I said, what do? You say sleep, you put him out, and you run over there, right? And let's just say he was about to lubricate the wall, and backstage. And I grabbed him by his non-dominant arm because I'm not stupid. And I went, freeze, what are you doing? And his eyes were rolling up into his head. He said, dude, I really got to go. I said, on the count of three, you're wide awake and get into that men's room just in time, And he runs out. Now I walk out and I got like 5,000 or 6,000 people hanging on what happened. Like, where did he go? What happened to him? Why did he leave the stage?
Yeah.
And I picked up the mic and I went, he had to pee. And they just screamed laughing because it's such a human thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of turning into the event. I had a show for a media mogul one time. This guy's a big deal in the media entertainment area, you know? And there was this gorgeous woman. I mean, she was like front page of a magazine, beautiful, like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And I said, stay in your seat. You're going to start flirting outrageously with the most attractive person in the room. And she didn't listen to the sit down in the chair part that I said. She jumped up out of the chair and got me in a bear hug with her legs and a bear hug with her arms.
Whoa.
And started sticking her tongue in my ear.
Wow.
And I was laughing so hard. It took me about 35 or something seconds maybe, or 40 seconds to recover. And I was crying. I was laughing so hard and I couldn't breathe. And I was thinking, I got to get back into talking and finish what I'm doing here. And I said, wait a minute, this is not so terrible. Another 2 or 3 seconds. It's not so terrible. You know, if like she doesn't mind, I don't mind. You know, it's not the worst moment of my life. I've had other moments that are much worse than that. Yeah, I'll give you a half hour to quit it. Knock it off in a half hour. But you know, I've also had people who have had what they've reported to me as spontaneous like changes in their physicality. I did a show for a senior citizen group, like an afternoon thing. It was like practically for nothing. You know, it was like they covered my gasoline and tolls and stuff to go up there. I figured make some senior people laugh, you know, like some older senior folks. And at the end, I always do this inspirational empowerment stuff. And a lot of hypnotists now are doing that. I've been doing that for several decades now. But, you know, I came up with the idea, throw a little bit of that in the end. Why not? Just give them a little bit of something. And she got up and told me the arthritis in her legs and hands were gone. And this woman had to be in her 80s. And she got up and she started doing Irish step dancing for me. And she said, I've been able to do this over 40 years.
Wow.
She said, all the joints in my body that have been restricted, released from what you said to me. I feel I can go out dancing now with people. My whole life has changed. So I had that rush that we get when we do the clinical work, when there's instantaneous change in a person. And it's enough that, like, as a human, you know, I'm kind of a tough New Yorker, but you get those moments where you get a moment of like weepy eyed, you know,
sure,
where it's like you've made that dent in somebody's existence. And I think that's a critical thing for any hypnotist of any stripe that's doing this stuff, especially if you're doing shows. You're going to get that bang for the buck with a private session, but you may not get it as often in a group or in a show, you know. And in a group situation too, I've done large groups where I've gotten large groups to quit smoking or reduce stress in major corporations, Fortune 100 and 500 companies.
Yeah.
And for any stage hypnotist watching this, if you get to work with corporations, it's great. But my experience has been they want you when they want you. If it's a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and they're not ready to make that phone call yet, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. Let them know you're still there, but don't chase them down because they'll let you know when they're ready for you again.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, we had, I think we had another question too. Brian, you want to?
Janae was asking, do you think somnambulists are natural or are they created?
I think everybody is capable of being trained to a somnambulistic level. When I was taking a training course years ago to become an instructor, the instructor at the time, who is now deceased at this point in history, did this hand pinch thing on me. And he got a little over the top, a little aggressive, shall we say. So instead of pinching me, he drove his fingernails through my flesh.
Whoa.
And my hand was bleeding. And I'm a natural stage 6 somnambulist if you're using the Aaron scale. And, you know, I think from all the years of hypnosis and me putting myself into hypnosis, it's very much that I am capable of going out. I mean, you know, I put myself out like for surgery and things that have happened before I go in to make my life easier than, you know, needles and whatever else. And when he pinched my hand and drew blood, I wouldn't let myself go out past stage 3 after that because I no longer had rapport with him. I didn't trust him.
Yeah.
Not that it hurt much, but I just felt violated about it, you know, in some weird way.
Sure.
I did not say pinch holes in my skin and make me bleed. So I think a somnambulist, it's like a colleague, a friend, Richard Nongard once said, about me, talking to a group of people who didn't know me, that my attitude about hypnosis reminds him of a kid who learned how to hypnotize out of the back of a comic book. Now, that didn't really happen with me. But if you're a kid and nobody's told you that there are people that are not hypnotizable, or people who can't get to a certain level of depth, then it never occurs to you that that person can't get to that place. So therefore, everybody gets to that place or close to it anyway. So it's a matter of where you think you are at that moment, and like a lock and key theory. Like I've had hypnotists I've worked with at conferences that tell me they can't go below stage 2 if there's a 6-stage depth scale. And yet with me, I'll get them down to a 4 or 5. And with work, you can get them down to a 6 over a period of, fractionation up and down, or, a period of days, or whatever it might be. I really don't think there are real limits to this stuff. Mm. Also, from years of experience, a lot of the courses and books will tell you, test this person and keep track. There was stage 3, there was stage 2, stage 5, whatever it may be. But I think that can fluctuate. And it's not, I don't think, it's my experience. It's my reality. I know that fluctuates on a day-by-day, moment-by-moment basis with some people. It's absolutely what it is. You get somebody having a rough day who's too stressed out and can't let go, and you work with them in the past and they were stage 6 subject, a somnambulist, and they're only going to be a stage 2 subject that day because the stress levels are too high.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the first thing to do is get them to breathe, work it out a little bit, shake them out a little bit, maybe do a speed induction, put them out, bring them up, whatever it might be, and work them a little bit more. My entire clinical pre-talk is basically pre-hypnosis. I've had other hypnotists who come in here with a relative they're not going to work with, and they say to me, "Man, do you work them in a pre-talk?" I'm like, "Yep. I want to get them in deep. I want to get in there as deep as I can." And there are some schools that thought, well, you don't need to get them into somnambulism. Anything that's going to work in their favor, anything that's going to work to make the session more viable, greater level of magnitude, impact. I'm going through the thesaurus in my head here. Anything that's going to make it work better, short of shaking a rattle in their face or whatever. What's my favorite way to do a rapid induction? Well, there are so many. I'm glad you asked me that question. Let's see. I'm always fond of the first one, the butterfly induction, because it's like having your firstborn child,
Yeah.
But it's also disrespectful to your children after that to disrespect them by saying the first one's the favorite and then there's you, So my favorite induction actually is going to be a trite answer you may not like. It's the one that works for that person, okay? If you bought a copy of my Speed Trance 2.0 off my website, which is more or less where it's available now, which is quite a few years old. I only had 50 inductions at that point. I'm up to 124 plus derivatives, so it's a little while ago. We shot that on the Las Vegas Strip. The first version is not available anymore because it was upgraded to version 2.0. But in the original one and in the second one, we have clips from the first one. I was in a bar in Kansas. There's no rapport with me being from New York at a bar in Kansas. Like here, we have a circle and a red line with a cigarette, in the middle. They have that, but they also have a circle, a red line, and a handgun because it's, the old West. It's Kansas, right?
Yeah.
So I walk in there as a New Yorker, and people's shields go up. Like, this guy is not from around here. He may not be one of us. And I was dropping people in that bar left and right with noise. And then I hypnotized this lady. She went right out. Nice lady. Her husband had like 5 or 6 or 7 bourbon shooters. He was banging minutes later. He was kind of feeling it. And it took me 3 attempts to get him out. But I always say if I was a captain of a starship, because one of you was doing the captain thing earlier, but as we came up here, Captain Shawn, yeah, absolutely. My ship would be the USS Relentless. I just keep going at them because resistance is in fact futile when it's me. I just keep at them until, and I think any hypnotist would have the same attitude. Just keep going at them until you get them to go out. And let nothing stand in the way. Make sure it's safe. Make sure the chair is viable. Make sure that they're not on a chair that's going to fall apart or they're going to land on the floor or it's going to slide out. I'd rather have them fall on me in an induction than land on the floor and get hurt. Right. Luckily, most chairs that these people on are relatively close to the floor, so they haven't got flat to fall anyway. but I'll even hook my foot around the front leg of the chair. If it hurts my foot a little bit, so what? The main thing is they're safe. And safety is a huge concern with everything I do.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Did I beat that question to death well enough? I mean, I'm pretty thorough, I think.
Yeah. What kind of, do you have any more comments?
By the way, if you're doing stage shows, get a sippy cup.
Oh, she loves the, yeah. So Becca says she loves the butterfly one. Maybe John will demonstrate that for everybody later on during the hypnosis. John, where do you see yourself in the future? What's on the future for John?
I want to do every state in the union. I'm determined to do that. I'd like to see Australia and do stuff in Australia. Any place where people speak English that they'll understand what I'm doing. I've also done what's been called translingual hypnotism. I have worked through translators, but it takes twice as long to do it because you have to work through the translator, and there's a lag with the translator. And I speak like I'm from New York, so it's pretty quick that comes out of my mouth, these words, because my brain is much faster than my mouth. So I can give you an example. I did a holiday party show at an event, a company party in east of here, let's say 3 counties away. And the lady who translates from Spanish into English and back and forth in the office was drunk, and I didn't know that at the time. So she was translating my suggestions to get them hypnotized into Spanish, which was great. And then I remembered a phrase from studying Spanish in both college and high school. And I said something in Spanish. She said it in English and then fell over laughing onto the floor. And she was useless after that. So that just becomes silly and twice as much work. And I get that occasionally. Can you do the entire show in Spanish? If you have somebody who's really focused on what I say and can translate the meaning, not verbatim, but the meaning of what I'm saying into what we have to do, then that's fine. That'll work.
Yeah.
But if they're doing it literally or something else, or there's a lag, or they don't understand some words, And as I was saying about a sippy cup, if you're doing shows, I did research on this. If you're doing a show and you need to keep your throat going, somebody was mentioning earlier, I think it was Shawn was saying his throat was a little raw. That just saves you a tremendous amount of time because it's faster to get the liquid into your throat with a cup like that. And I've learned with the shows that if my voice, especially during grad season, starts to crack in the middle of a show, make sure you have that and a straw that goes in. It'll get it down your throat quicker because what are the top 3 I haven't states? That's a great question. That's an excellent question. I haven't done much in the Pacific Northwest so far. I've done every state on the Eastern Seaboard except South Carolina so far. I've done a show in every one of those places. I'm trying to think. I'd like to do something in Montana or Idaho or Wyoming or North Dakota or South Dakota. The whole thing being a stage hypnotist, and Jim, you'll get this. You get to visit these states for like under 48 hours. You kind of zip in.
Yeah.
You kind of zip out.
It kind of sucks.
You're going to leave,
When you get into entertainment, you think, wow, I'm going to get to see a lot of stuff. And you get to see a lot of stuff, but you don't get to visit much.
No.
Just in and out.
I was in Nebraska a while back. I don't know, a couple of months back. And, it's just a lot of driving. You get off at the airport, you're driving for 2+ hours to get where you're going. And then cornfields and more cows than you've ever seen in one place in your life over and over and over again. And then there's a town. I enjoyed the speed limits there. The speed limits in some places were 80 and 90 miles an hour. I'm like, I like that. You kind of get where you're going,
Yeah.
And the towns are lovely and the people are nice. And I really like America. I really love meeting the people. Canada is wonderful too. When I've been in Canada, they treat me like gold up there. I mean, it's really, really a great place to go. I haven't been to Mexico yet. There was some opportunities years ago to do cruise work and whatever it was. And my mother was very sick with cancer for many years. So was my father. And that kind of tied me up from being able to go very far away to do certain things. But I'm wide open to possibilities at this point. The number of gigs we've done here, the number of gigs I've done where, that's what happens. You wind up in these states for 24 hours or less than 48 hours. My thing lately, as the years are going by, is I want certain things certain ways. I normally want to go out the day before and leave the morning after, because I don't want to run in there with flight delays and be haggard. I did the Emmy Award parties years ago out in LA, and there was a flight delay, and I was going out there like the afternoon. I was going to land in the afternoon and have to do demonstrations at parties in several different locations when I got there. And some guy in the seat next to me, of all things, told me he had heart work done at a hospital. And I said, "How are you flying?" "They tell you not to fly for like 2 weeks afterwards." "I don't care. I'm going to Hawaii." I said, "We're actually flying to Los Angeles." "I know. I'm a connecting flight." And then he starts leaning into my lap like he's going to get sick to his stomach. And I was pushing him over towards his wife because I don't know him that way, and he passed out. We had to do an emergency landing in Chicago.
Oh, no.
And they took his, but think about what I'm about to say. There were 5 nurses or something on the plane, 6 nurses, and they took his blood pressure on a pressurized cabin. And his blood pressure was practically unreadable because, again, pressurized cabin, right? So the pilot did an emergency landing, but it was a military-grade landing. Like he came in like nose down and then fried the dashboard on the plane. So it was 3.5 hours for a new plane. Wow. And I had people waiting at the airport for me. And it was like, drive me top speed to a hotel, get changed, jump in the car, and then go do what I had to do. And it's crazy. So the idea is get out there a day early. If you're doing this for a living, get out there a day early and make sure, and find out where there is places to eat and stuff before you go that are like, reasonable to eat and decent and safe and whatever. Get a lay of the land first, You start getting better at travel the more you do it,
Yeah, I'm the same way, John. I always, if it's at all possible, I'm there the day before, because there's nothing worse than trying to perform, too. Even if you don't have any delays or anything, you're tired from the flight. It's much better to just arrive a day early and have a good time.
And make sure you stay at a decent hotel.
Yeah,
I don't mind a 3-star hotel if it's clean.
Yeah.
But the old Rodney Dangerfield, and I'll tell you, the hotel was so cheap, they stole my towel, I mean, I've been in those places.
I got to tell you, so I have a little bit of trouble actually choosing hotels now, because back when I was a comic, now that you have no choice. You're in the car when you're on a tour and you have to be at the next place in like 6 hours. You're driving for 6 hours, you get to the next place, that kind of a thing. But stayed in a lot of crappy hotels. But now I have trouble because now I'm not willing to do that anymore. But I don't want to pay too much either. So I'm in that middle range. I don't want to pay $300 a night, but I certainly don't want the $50 a night room either.
You build that into the price of your show.
You do, but still, you're still saving money either way.
Well, lately I'm hearing people giving me good feedback about Airbnb.
Oh yeah,
the Airbnb is cheaper, and you can,
Well, if it's longer, I like Airbnb definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the ground less than 24 hours. From that comment on the back, judgmentalist hypnotist, you don't want to be on the ground for like under 24 hours.
I agree.
That's suicide. That's just no good. That's just bad stuff. I've had that a couple of times. And again, if you do this a lot, especially if you're working with various agencies, like some of which I won't work with anymore, the show instructions for safety don't get there. You get thrown in someplace. There's cables running from the backstage down to front stage, the front of the stage, and then down onto the floor. Cables that are this big or bigger, What's wrong with the cable? Because somebody's going to get hurt. That's what's wrong with the cable.
Right.
Move the cable.
Right.
The chairs are on a wax dance floor, and they're steel feet. You breathe on the chair, it'll move. It's that slidey, You don't want unsafe situations because somebody's not paying attention. I'm reminded of the Van Halen story where most people in the music field know this story, brown M&Ms, give me a 5-pound bowl of M&Ms, take out all the brown ones. If that wasn't followed, they knew the stage directions weren't read properly. And then the Rolling Stones 6 months later wanted the brown Van Halen M&Ms in their bowl, 5 pounds. They wanted only brown M&Ms.
Attention to detail. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm willing to work within reason, but I've been thrown into situations. Oh, could you help us move furniture? It doesn't say moving man on the back. It says, work for this hypnotist. No offense, Jim, But,
right.
But the bottom line is that, I've done those jobs too. I've moved furniture in college. I've had a lot of blue collar jobs and whatever it took to make ends meet and pay for my education. And, you know, God bless everybody who does the work. I've done it, certainly. I've moved couches. And once somebody asked me to move, myself and one other worker were asked to move a 3-ton safe up this huge 80, 90 steps out of a basement in a Park Avenue building. And I'm like, you see, it says 3 tons painted on the side of this thing. I mean, I don't have a big S in the center of my chest, and I'm not wearing a red cape, you know? But carrying a 3-ton safe up 90 steps is not going to fly, you know?
Right.
You'll come back tomorrow. I said, certainly. Yeah, sure we will. Yeah, just whatever.
Sure we will. Hey, John, I wonder
what was in that safe.
We should talk to people about your books. So you've got 3 script books alone.
Yep.
And Shawn's going to share the link on that, I think. I've got it on my iPad too. You can take a look at number 1. So man, that's a lot of scripts, John. 388 pages it says here.
There's almost 400 pages in the first book.
Yeah.
You remember when you had to write your term paper for 10 pages and over Christmas or, you know, spring vacation or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And you were losing your mind and tying knots in your stomach. Try writing 400 pages, what that turns into. It's like, you know, but I've since come down, but I figured out a system to make this work. Anybody wanting to write a book, my friend Richard Nongard is doing a book course, how to write a book right now.
Amazing.
And publish it. But and the other way to do it, the way I go about it for the third book, which I think is rather groundbreaking for people tell me, is you come up with a series of chapter titles and then write an essay on each chapter title. And then you got a book.
Yeah.
That's really what you have to do.
Yeah.
So the scripts are all kinds of things from sessions I've had to write beyond that original script book I had. Yeah. And I remember the first script book I had was, you know, typographical errors. You're feeling calm. You're feeling relaxed, happy, and clam, not calm. And I don't know what feeling clam is, but I mean, I don't think the client wants to hear about feeling clam necessarily. So, and every time I got to that, I'd giggle like an idiot and I have to hold it. I'd be poking my fingernails into my leg and whatever you do not to laugh when you don't want to, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff had negative suggestions in it and aversion therapy. Now, in the first book, there's one aversion therapy script somebody yelled at me for. An old timer, he said to me, "Why do you have that in there?" I said, "Because somebody wanted it that way and it worked and they never smoked again." Oh, okay then. All the other scripts have no aversion therapy, you know, techniques in there, but that one did.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's all stuff that's original too. It's all stuff that I sat down and wrote. I'm working on another script book right now as other sessions come in with weird stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that's out there, you got to be careful that you're not practicing medicine. But I've had doctors send patients in here and say, "Help this guy with his ED issue. You know, I'm writing you a note. It's okay. It's a medical referral," you know, that kind of thing. So I've written a lot of different things for a lot of different situations. I love working with kids. I think kids are terrific. Mm-hmm. With a child, this is broken. Let's fix it. Let's go on. You know, with an adult, they tend to paint themselves into a corner with, that's my identity. And I am a smoker. I am a person who does X, Y, and Z to myself. Yeah. With a child, this is broken. Let's fix it so I can go out and play or whatever kids do nowadays. I don't know. I've been a little out of touch with that. But, and then parents are kind of unique too. They call up, "My child is 90% better. What 10% didn't we put out in the way of the fire? Bring the kid back. What 10% did we get?" You know? But, you know, the script books are a labor of love. And I've had people over the years say to me, like, "Why did you release this to the public? Why don't you keep it for yourself?" If I can help my clients with it, that's great. If I can help the world's clients with that, all the other hypnotists in the world that get these books, then use them. Some people do them verbatim. Some people will take it and copy and paste it from a PDF and then add their own stuff to it. The third book, Power Hypnosis, is a rethinking of how hypnotic scripts should stick and work to keep the session self-perpetuating and self-adapting. A lot of what people have been trained to do in this profession is a static session. They come in for this, you work for this, and that's all you do. I'm not happy with that. I've never been happy with that. Okay. I want them to come in, And everything that caused the situation, known or unknown to them, for example, is a big one of mine. You were healing, releasing, forgiving, rising above, and overwhelming all those things at once which overwhelmed you. And instead, reversing back upon itself each and everything that ever stood in your way, known or unknown to you.
Mm.
And now in this new chapter, this masterpiece chapter of your life, you only put into that chapter of your life the things that are most important and need best to be there. All things that are no longer of use or once stagnated or stood in your way are now dissolved and released by you. You've moved on, you've stepped forward, certain, serene, and sure, more now than any other time in your life before. And that's just spitballing off the top of my head here.
Yeah.
When I produce those scripts, I'm in hypnosis myself.
Mm.
And I've heard hypnotists say, ooh, scripts. Ooh, my teacher said, ooh, no scripts. But unless you prepare for what you're doing in advance, you don't want that old, SNL Chris Farley moment where he used to punch himself in the stomach. Ooh, why did I say that? There's 4 other things I could have added into that session. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And I don't want to see that in this profession anymore. I've talked to a lot of hypnotists who are in that position because they didn't prepare enough in advance. Have the stuff ready. Nothing's stopping you from adding extra stuff in if it pops into your head while you're working.
Sure.
But that way you've got the Court of Van Halen album, The Best of Both Worlds, right?
Yeah.
You've got the stuff you prepared while you're in trance.
Yeah.
So I've had clinicians come in here from other fields, whether it's psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers, psychotherapists, psychoanalysts, psychiatric nurses, and they'll bring somebody sometimes with them. Have you had those sessions where somebody brings a friend, and the friend who's also trained will look at me and say, "You're in state when you're doing that." Yeah, I'm in New York. You're in New Jersey. No, I'm in hypnosis myself because our best stuff happens when we're in hypnosis.
Sure. Yeah.
How you put your shoes on, how you walk, go to the bathroom, take a shower, shave, eat, drive the car, do this. This is all stream of consciousness stuff.
Yeah.
So why not be in that state when you write this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I found a few apps recently. There's one called Write to Text, I think it is, on Android. Yeah, Write by Voice, it's called. Excuse me. And it doesn't pause like some of the other apps do, but it doesn't choke. You can do stream of consciousness right into there, and it gets most of the words.
Oh.
And with that app, you can just dictate whatever pops into your head. And this is great. You could be like online waiting to pick up food someplace in the store. Hey, I got a session coming in. Boop, right into the phone, no interruptions. There is a pop-up ad at the end. You got to kind of dance around that unless you want to pay X amount of dollars a year. But otherwise, that's a great app for just off the top of your head. And it works well too. Like I keep my phone next to my bed when I sleep. I put it in airline mode.
Okay.
So in case I'm snoring, Google is not picking up my voice or whatever I'm doing,
Okay.
talking in my sleep, whatever it is, but they're not trying to sell me like a yacht or something because I was talking about that as I was dreaming, perhaps. I'm just making a joke about it. But the idea is that that's right next to my bed. So if something pops into my head, boop, it's right out of my mouth. If I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning with a creative idea for the shows, and it goes into the show. If it's clinical, it's something clinical, goes into the phone right away. Nothing gets lost. Nothing is thrown to the curb.
Yeah, I like what Sue said, that she likes scripts for an outline. I think what you're saying is you don't necessarily have to go exactly by what's on there. You could add, you could subtract, but I kind of think about, like when you're, if you're kind of doing comedy off the cuff, it can be great. But if you actually write out some stuff and you've got a callback and you've got, you punch it up a bit, it's going to be better because you put in some thought to it.
Yeah, well, and again, I've had to do some stand-up also because I get thrown into situations where like a comedian didn't show up or they want me to be my own warm-up act. You've been through that situation?
Oh, sure.
They want you to be your own warm-up sort of. You've been in that mix.
Oh, yeah.
Or your own announcer or whatever it is, or afterwards, can we borrow your sound equipment? Could you run a raffle for these students that are graduating, and you're playing some theme song from a TV show that does, a game show or something. But I've been through all of it. And so whether it's acting, whether it's comedy, whether it's this, it's kind of like that's where I think I'm supposed to be, because does that mean I'm throwing the private sessions under the bus? No, certainly not. I mean, and those are fun too. I mean, it just make sure your throat is lubricated. You can keep talking. I remember I was doing a workshop work for a major a major U.S. company, I don't want to start dropping names again, but it's a Fortune 100 company. And they had me on a little stage that was about that high off the ground. It was like maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches high off the ground. And I was standing there doing a group induction to put everybody out to get them more cigarettes. And I tend to move around like I do when I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
And to get as much out of my voice as I can, I had my eyes closed. And suddenly I was like that far from falling off the stage, and I was facing stage left because I didn't know where I was because my eyes were closed. So, but it's a fun journey being a hypnotist. It really is. And when you meet people, they say, "Oh, you're a hypnotist. That's so cool," is one of the responses I get. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. Well, my other favorite, and see if this rings a bell for anybody else. What do you do for a living? I'm a hypnotist. No, really, what do you do for a living? Has that ever happened? You get that?
People are always in awe. Yeah, they're always. It's like the coolest thing in the world. They definitely want to talk to us.
They just don't want to look us in the eye ever because
you never know,
like, oh my God, you have magic powers.
Exactly. Well, hey,
they'll say to me, I want to look in your eye, and I'm shaking hands with them. I'm like, it's not really the eyes. What is it? It's the handshake. What?
Yeah.
Because you can't put it back on them too. That's important too. You got to stand your ground once in a while with these people. You know,
exactly.
They all think not looking into your eyes is they're the first person who ever said that to us, and they think it's the funniest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And like the first 80 times, it wasn't so bad, but 700 or 800 times later, it's getting a little thin, frankly.
Yeah, no kidding. So just real quick before we wrap up the interview part, Zelda says some teachers don't promote scripts because people can become reliant on them and won't know how to pivot if the protocol isn't effective for that particular person. It's funny that she says that because I worked in a clinic where we were supposed to read the scripts, and I would go off sometimes. But I actually had a session before my first hypnosis show. I went to one of the hypnotherapists there, and I said, "Hey, do one for me to become, confident to do a show." And we had the script for something like that, and she couldn't deviate. She was just locked in. There was no way she could improvise. So I get that. Thank you, Zelda. Dawn.
I don't want to be locked in either. But the idea is you have to be able to mentally pivot. And let's face it, if you take the stuff and you start working on it off what I've written and make it your own version of it, then it becomes your stuff anyway.
Absolutely.
And I do highly recommend that if you buy the electronic copy.
Yeah, Don says great stuff. Thanks for sharing, Don. I hope you're doing better. I hope you're feeling well, buddy. Had some medical issues. Probably why he's listening tonight. He's probably stuck in bed, and not in a good way.
Well, I'll say a prayer.
So, all right, it is time for what are we doing first? We're doing friend or frenemy. I gotta think I know the answer to this because John is Italian. He's from New York. I mean, I gotta guess that we're gonna get this one right. But John, the people want to know, the listeners, and most of all, the heroes here. We want to know, John, do you like pineapple on pizza?
My uncle was killed by a pineapple truck. No, I'm just messing with you. No, no, I'm not a fan of the pineapple on the pizza. I'm just kind of a traditionalist. I like extra sauce, occasionally a little cheese. Crispy, Perfect. Well done is nice. I like New York thin crust. There's a place that's the second oldest pizzeria in the U.S. I've been going there since I'm 12. There's a couple in Brooklyn that have been there that are landmarks that are well known. And I've also enjoyed Chicago-style pizza and Detroit-style pizza and whatever else. But no, I think pizza should be pizza.
Yes.
That's my opinion. And I have no qualm or anything else. I don't want to get emails from people. How dare you? I'm part of the Pineapple on Pizza group, and how dare you on Facebook? Listen, go do your own thing. Go be happy. Life's too short. Go be happy.
You're far too kind with them. They have a mental illness, John. They need to be fixed. I'm going to do some hypnosis for them, and we're going to help them.
I can write the script for you.
So if you like pineapple on pizza, comment frenemy so we know who we can keep as our frenemy and not our friend. John, I'm so glad that you're a friend. You're not a frenemy. I see several people on here already that are frenemies. They'll never be friends, only frenemies. Hey, it's time for merch. No, wait. We didn't do our tech tip today. Do you have a tech tip for us, Shawn?
Actually, I don't, except to say stay healthy because that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Stay healthy. Absolutely.
Next time I'll have a couple of AI tips.
Okay. Oh, AI tips. Tune in, everybody. Okay. So our merch this week, we've got a couple of choices for you. We've got a Damn I'm Pretty t-shirt. I probably can share it. Are you able to share these things, Shawn, or do I have to do it? I mean, I'll do it, but I mean, just for future, I have trouble with it. I'm getting better though. Look at this. I think I got it, guys. I think I actually have it this time. Probably can't see it yet. This is what we're playing for. Remember, you gotta do hashtag Hypnosis Hero, all one word, hashtag the # Hypnosis Hero. And we're gonna see, where's it at?
I agree with Stu. Thin crust is the best, Stu. You're right. Rock and roll.
I do like some thin crust, although I do like a deep dish too. Can we see that, everybody? Can we see the shirt?
Yep, we can hear it. We can see it.
Okay, great. So there's your choice this week. Pretty what? It says, "Damn, I'm pretty." Damn, I'm pretty. Yes. Say it. Yes. Scott King and I have been frenemies since day one. True indeed. True indeed. It was not a great meeting, but it's been a great friendship since then, or frenemyship, however you want to call it. Yes, you get a t-shirt. It is a Damn I'm Pretty t-shirt. We're going to do the drawing right now. Something maybe we ought to... shoot. Did I? Oh, okay, no, I didn't do it. Okay, never mind. Stop sharing. Okay, good. Here we go, everybody. Get ready. So put them in there. Put them in there. Get those...
Last call for hashtags. Last call for hashtags.
Don's a friend of me. I'm so disappointed, Don. But you're ill right now, so I'm going to forgive you. Let's see. Go check out Don's club when you're in Vegas. Everybody's got a great club. I'm not sure what the new name is. Is it Delirious or shoot? I know it, but I don't know it. Okay. Before we do that, Judgmentalist says, "I'm pretty sure I haven't had pineapple on a Chicago style pizza. Maybe illegal in Illinois." I think so. Don, I know the name of the club, but it's escaping me right now. If you'll comment it, we'll mention it. And let's see. Where is the lottery? Lottery. Wait. Oh, text block. Nope. Okay, raffle. They call it raffle. Get ready. Hashtag. Oh, it went away. Hypnosis Hero. Coming up. Get ready. Get ready.
And the name of Don's club is Delirious.
Say again?
You weren't delirious when you were thinking that the club name was Delirious.
Okay.
Because it is Delirious.
It is Delirious. Look at that, guys. I got it right. Delirious. Go check it out. You got some great performers there. Sue Kabuki. I don't know if we're friends on Facebook. Just shoot me a message with the size that you want. Go over to damnI'mPretty.com. You'll see the t-shirt. It's a t-shirt, not the tank top this time. Stop. It's not doing that. This one doesn't count. I messed up. I didn't hit the right. There we go. Shoot me a message. If we're not, you can email me, jim@jimkellner.com. Shawn's going to put that in the comments right now. jim@jimkellner.com. I just need the size and your address. We'll get that in the mail to you. And we're a little bit behind. We still have mugs to send out to Dennis, and we have a lovely... There's a water bottle to send out to Scott King. So those will be soon. Conference is over. I've got a little bit of time now. There it is. And House of Magic. That's right. I saw a great show. In fact, I was part of Michael DeShalet's show at the club down there when we were there for Performing Hypnosis Summit. And man, he's a great performer. Hypnosis and magic. All right.
Jim@jimkellner.com, right?
Jim@jimkellner.com. Yes. Okay, we got that out of the way. So, John, it's your choice.
Yes,
We do about, we end the show with maybe 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of hypnosis. You do everything, so you get to choose. You can do some hypnotherapy type of a stuff, or you can do some maybe the butterfly, some street hypnosis stuff. We do have a disclaimer that from this point on, this is a hypnotic experience. So please do not drive, do not move around. You'll see there's a disclaimer on the video as well. This is a great time to just either sit in a chair or lie down and relax. John, take it away, my friend.
For starters, you keep asking me about the butterfly, or people keep asking me about it. I can discuss some of that, and then I can do some group hypnosis thing for a little while, maybe, I'm thinking.
Cool.
People really need to do this properly for it to work, okay? And I see people doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If you're doing the butterfly induction, you have to have, you're working in the goggle zone of somebody's eyes.
Okay.
Like, it shouldn't be much more. I'm trying to figure out my hand, left and right side here. Okay.
Yeah, right.
It should be. I'm looking where my watch is. It should be in the area where it's like near like the goggle area, their eyes. And what you want to do is you want to kind of come in left and right, go up in the middle, left and right, go up in the middle. If you're new at this, grab the person by the left wrist and in jurisdictions where it's okay to touch somebody, ask them permission in advance, make sure they're seated properly. I have them visualize wearing a lap airline safety belt. If I'm teaching this, I don't do it this way myself anymore, but you grab them by the left arm, you kind of shake it a little bit, get their arm moving, because you want to do overload in the mind, but there's too many things going on at once. And then you model it first. Follow with your eyes and with your head. You kind of do this business. You put yourself a little into hypnosis doing it that way. If they're not moving their head and their eyes with you, they're doing it incorrectly, they're not following along properly. Remodel it if you have to. And you want to be in that goggle zone. You don't want to be all over here. I see people on YouTube doing this, and it's all over the place. You don't want to break somebody's neck or give them a headache. You want to work like the idea of a medical monitor, like a heart monitor that goes boop, 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 this kind of thing. And then when they're ready to go out, there's different ways to drop them down. Hopefully, I'll be teaching some of this in Las Vegas in January with you guys.
Yeah.
But the idea is you can just gently pull them down this way, like you're kind of like the itsy bitsy spider coming down is a nice way to bring them down. Follow my fingers, the head kind of drops down. And when they get to a kind of a deeper point where they feel like they're dropping in a little bit more, sleep. Don't yank their head. I've seen people do that on television.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to hurt anybody's neck or back. Just gently rock them, Watch for the fixated, glassy-eyed stare.
Mm-hmm.
And then let them just kind of drop off. They're going into their own hypnosis anyway. Most people are hypnotized to begin with all day anyway, to some greater or lesser extent. So just work with what you have. And then I see people doing the techniques, for example, on YouTube or other places, and they don't have any patter or any kind of suggestions to give. So what you want to do is more or less rock and tap and talk and like loosey-goosey and get deeper and further and deeper. Every breath, every tap, every heartbeat, every word, you're relaxing 85,000 times. Deeper, further, and deeper. Why 85,000 times? It's just an easy number to say, and it's a nonsense number. You don't know what 85,000 jelly beans in a jar looks like. You don't know what 85,000 pennies looks like. You don't know what 85,000 single dollar bills look like.
You're correct.
So you don't look 85,000 pieces of gravel or houses or anything. It could be anything. So it's a nonsense number, and just get them in nice and deep. And once they're in deep, always leave them smiling. Always give them a gift at the end. They've had a 9-hour. My stuff is, you've had a 9-hour nap and a 7-hour back and foot rub. Man, do you feel terrific. Better than you have in the last 12, 14 years of your life. Don't do zeros and ones. Zeros and fives, rather. I'm sorry. People have tried to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds. Don't do zeros and fives. 11 years, 15 years, maybe 15 years or 16 years. But stay away from things that end in zero, especially. And once they drop out, when it's time to bring them back, bring them back nice and gently. If they're not coming back, panic is the enemy. So just say, when you're ready, you'll sit up and you'll come back to the room nice and comfortably. And let them come back. That's something right there you can pick up from doing this more corrected than some of the people I see doing it. And many people, God bless them, they're on YouTube and they're doing it correctly. It's amazing how many people all over the world are doing that induction. What about the other, 123 kids I have? They're all stuck on that one pretty much. Yeah. But if you're doing the butterfly induction, again, you want to work in a goggle zone here. You don't want all over the place where you're giving them a neck headache, Are there any questions from the people putting up comments about what I just said about that?
Well,
we
did have somebody. I just want to let everybody know. I'd forgotten. Thank you, Janaea, for reminding me. So we are going to invite, if you're watching right now, it's about 6:47 p.m. Pacific time on June 10th. Where if you're watching live, you can actually be on the screen with legendary hypnotist John Cerbone. Really, I mean, this is a true opportunity for you, and get hypnotized. So he'll be able to look him in the eye, and he'll look you in the eye when he's hypnotizing you. Otherwise, you can just enjoy it from behind your screen. So we might actually have somebody join us. Let me look for any messages. Becca's excited about Hypno Time. I'm wondering, I think Sue might be asking where at. Was just there. If you're asking about the comedy club, they're in Vegas, the House of Magic and Delirious. You'll have to Google them. I don't have the address. Any other questions before John starts hypnotizing people? Now, if you want to jump on, there's a link there. It says wave.video/live. Jump on. You can jump on in the middle of it. We'll just ask you to be quiet, and John will, unless John asks you something. So, John, whenever you're ready.
All right. This is interesting. Okay. That's a better view. Stare at my finger harder and harder and harder and harder. Stare at my finger harder and harder and harder. Draw the image of my finger into your mind. Draw the image of my finger into your mind. Zoom your eyes into the tip of my finger as it's moving slightly in front of your face from my natural body movements. Take a deep breath in. Let it out slow. Take a deep breath in. Let it out slow. Let yourself about to relax extremely deeply. Deep breath in. Let it out slow. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers. When I do, let your body drop down. Let your mind drop down. Let your body relax. Let your body sleep. 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 All the way down. Deep breath in with eyes closed. And with each and every breath that you take, and with each and every beat of your heart, visualize, sense, think about, notice, picture, see in your imagination, golden white sunshine light, cascading in a waterfall of light, coming down from above your body, washing your body clean of stress. And every place that it touches, every place that it flows, all that it circulates through, relaxes you deeper and further and deeper. Relaxing deeper, further and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel as you drift and float and dream beneath my voice. And as you breathe this air, visualize and sense and feel this golden white sunshine, life force, light energy, being inhaled into your lungs, relaxing your lungs, and filling your lungs on every slow and steady breath that you take, and with each and every beat of your heart. And as your lungs become like a lake of light, this light overflows soon, even now, from the tops of your lungs, filling your heart now with golden white, life force light, and feelings of love and self-adoration, the ability to forgive, release, heal, and transcend all limits. And in these moments of transcendence, you relax. And through former barriers of stress and blockage now dissolving, you flow. And in this flow, you remain in this oneness you are, in this place of peace and rest and harmony and relaxation. Your heart and your mind become as one, as this light is now circulating down from the top of your head and creating a circuit, a flow, a pathway, a river of light between your heart and your mind and your heart. And in this place, wisdom and connection to the universe and divinity and all that is, however you see it, begin to flow through your system as your heart and mind now are conducive to a more relaxed, more sustained life force you. And perhaps you feel release of energy, or perhaps you feel a comfortable sensation of warmth and circulation of this light flow going through your system on every breath, every word that I say, each and every heartbeat, each and every number that I count. And feel it relax the muscles in your face as your face begins to dissolve in this golden white light so happily and joyously. As it relaxes your scalp and your eyebrows, your eyes, and all the muscles around your eyes, and each and every muscle of your face. As your teeth are slightly apart. And as this energy begins to flow and expand, take a deep breath slowly, release it, and pull it down completely, showering in this light. A cascading waterfall of soothing and healing golden white light, relaxation energy. Exhale and and feel the energy circulate into your wrists and your fingers and the palms of your hands. Another deep breath and feel the soles of your feet relax. And in this place, become ever present. In this place of ever presence, relax and realize you were meant to be here. And in this place of purpose, in this place of having meant to be here, you are. And in this place of having meant to be here, you are. You are making a difference in this world. And the best way to follow that is to follow your heart and your mind and your dreams and to live your passion. Take a deep breath or 2 or 3 now and align mentally with your passion. Deepest breath in, hold for a moment, release it super slow. Releasing any residuals of past blockages, let out an ah. And feel how good that is. And as your imagination relaxes and your mind relaxes, allow your purpose, your imagination, your oneness, your life force and your love and your healing energy to draw forth into your reality wherever it is you best need to be, whatever your best passion is, whatever your best healing will ever be. And from this pathway of light between your heart and your mind, purposefully, meaningfully, like a quiet shout to the universe, to all prosperity you need, to all healing you need to manifest, drawing light into yourself to relinquish and release and vanquish all shadows in your body, your emotions, your thought, your spirit, your harmony. Let out 3 really loud ahs and release. And in this place of release, make room for the very best to come and to fill those spaces, more so now than ever before. Deep breath on with ah. No need to try, let it happen. Realigning. Making it so. Feel this shift now in your face and in your heart and the light of your heart and the light of your mind shining bright. And with every breath you take, make it so, make it who you are. Your dreams are crystallizing. Your blockages are releasing. They have no choice. All that you seek to create already exists. In this moment of time, you magnetize into your heart, into your mind, into your harmony, into your presence, your spirit, your soul, who you are. All that best needs to be there. Forgiving past lessons, having learned past lessons, you've graduated, so congratulations. In this place of higher love, peace, energy, and harmony, you now reside. And forevermore now, it is so. Not because I say so. Because in your mind it is so. Because your heart is saying so. Because your presence and spirit have made it so. And peacefully through the night now you sleep. Happy, supportive, pleasant dreams. Certain, serene, and sure that when you get up in the morning, you may even want to throw your arms over your head and say, today is going to be the best day ever. And better days from here on out. And as I breathe in the future, whenever this is needed, as if having a mouth or a nose in the area that needs that light and that healing in my body, in my life, in any place where shadows once were, This higher light now comes and remains, cleanses, restores, heals, and invigorates, inspires, excites, magnetizes. And it is so. On a count of 3 or whenever you're ready, return, serene and sure and certain this is so. For it is, as you now know. 1, coming back, feeling terrific, reset, recalibrated inside and out. 2, maybe you're even feeling like you've had a 9-hour nap and a 7-hour back and foot rub on top of the world. And 3, ready to open your eyes, smiling on the inside, smiling on the outside. Absolutely terrific. Not planned, just whatever I did off the top of my head. Hope that worked for you.
That was great, John. I tell you what, I had to kind of look away with just the finger was getting me. I've never had that kind of induction before. Just stare at the tip of my finger. I was like, oh, I can't be watching this.
Well, that was
that's like my number 3 invented induction. That's the third induction I invented. The vacuum thing, suck it into your imagination, and then you got to kind of load it and then snap and twist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come to the class. If I'm awarded a class at your conference and I'm teaching this stuff, come learn inductions from me. I normally teach. I used to teach 7 inductions, guaranteed 7. I was teaching recently, I think 12. I think I actually wound up teaching another 5 or 6 of them. And plus, I invented another 1 or 2 while I was out there recently, out in Northport, Long Island, with my friend and colleague, Carol Denneker. So, and I also have a list I bring with me of like the inductions. She wanted to know the Paisan induction. That was a big favorite. You know, from the Italian side of my family. My mother's side of the family is Irish and Scottish. But the Italian side, you know, the Paisan, we do this. Look at my fingers. Sleep, you know.
Well done.
So
Becca says the finger got her too. So
she needs that all due respect. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm joking, but thank you, Becca, so much. No, really. That's the kind of finger you want somebody to give you. You don't want the other kind, you know?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the good
Or maybe
finger,
you do. Or maybe you do. No judgment. So
that's true.
So John, remind everybody again. Oh wait, hold on. Is there time for another one? Oh, we actually have to go, Janaea. But John, you do have the finger also got her. John, you have a YouTube channel, yeah?
It's the Trance-Master channel.
Trance-Master.
Wrong side. I'm so nice. I'm not used to working backwards. The Trance-Master channel on YouTube. You can just go there or just do a search of my name, John Cerbone. There's like 700 something videos.
Yeah.
I've been a bit of a bad boy. I've not been putting recent show stuff on there because a lot of stuff gets borrowed, shall we say. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm coming up with now that's become so much of my own stuff now that it's I'm keeping some of it on my own for a while. But eventually that'll go up also. But look for the Trance-Master channel. Just type in Hypnotist John Cerbone. There's 700 something videos. Plenty to watch.
Nice. So yeah, go watch. He's got some inductions on there. Go check that out. And if you're a hypnotist, Don says needed that more than you know. Thank you, Don. Hey, if you're still watching, if you're available, I'd love to have you on the show. August, I think the second Saturday in August, we typically do the second Saturday. We typically do the stage hypnotists. I know you do both as well, but love to have you on like August 12th or the second one in September. Whenever you're available, just let me know. I'd love to have you on if you're up for it.
Monday, Jim, not Saturday.
What's that?
Monday, not Saturday.
That's what I meant. Yeah, yeah, Monday. We had to move it because we couldn't get any good stage hypnotists because stage hypnotists are busy on Saturdays and Fridays. So yeah. All right. So we got a lot of
people like that. Thank you.
Yeah, we got a lot of good comments. Drop us one more time. Brian, show Becca your phone real quick. He has a phone induction with one of our regular watchers.
Becca wants more.
Sorry, guys. I got to run. So let's see. Love the Oz. Wonderful. Thanks. A lot of good stuff there, John. Thank you so much. Go check him out. Search John Cerbone. You can find a lot of stuff. Also, if you're a hypnotist, come join us at the Performing Hypnosis Summit, where John will be teaching some regular presentations and doing at least one workshop, maybe more. We never know. John, absolute pleasure as always, talking with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, honestly, from my heart. Thank you, everybody, for attending this. And if you're watching this on the recorded version, thanks for joining us that way. And to everybody here, the Hollywood Squares Marine over here at this point, thank you all, very much appreciated, all of you, And to finish the way we started there, Shawn, thank you so much for your fine technical skills there. And Jim, honestly, a pleasure. Everybody, sincerely. Thank you so much, all of you.
All right. Take care. Be well. Be awesome.